You know, sometimes we love to believe that being poor is just bad luck, that some people are born with blessings while others are left struggling. But the truth, poverty isn't always about money, it's about habits. It's about the mindset you choose to live with every single day. And if you're not careful, there are 3 habits that will keep you poor forever, not just in your wallet, but in your spirit, your ambition, and your future. Let's start with the first one. Habit number 1, waiting for the perfect time. How many times have you said, I'll start when I'm ready, when things settle down, when I have more money, when I have more support? You keep waiting for that magical moment as if success is going to knock on your door with an invitation card. But let me tell you, there is no perfect time, there's only now. The poor mindset waits for conditions to change before taking action. The rich mindset creates the conditions by taking action. You can't expect life to hand you the perfect moment. You build it through courage, through imperfect starts, through consistency when no one's clapping. You start where you are with what you have. That's how empires are built. Every person who ever broke out of mediocrity started before they were ready. So stop waiting, because waiting is a thief. It steals your years, your momentum, your destiny. Habit number 2, spending to impress instead of investing to grow. There's a trap that's so easy to fall into, the illusion of success. The designer clothes, the new phone, the fancy car on credit. We spend to look rich instead of learning how to become rich. And you know why? Because validation feels good. It gives you temporary power, temporary attention, temporary applause. But that applause dies the moment your bills arrive. Real power doesn't come from what's on your wrist. It comes from what's in your mind. It's your skills, your discipline, your ability to multiply what you have. But when you keep chasing appearances, you'll always be broke financially and mentally. Because you're feeding your ego instead of your purpose. So, stop buying to impress. Start building to express. Invest in things that grow your education, your craft, your mindset. That's the kind of wealth no one can ever take away from you. Habit number 3, blaming everyone but yourself. This one's deadly, because the moment you start believing that the world owes you something, you've already lost. You blame the government, you blame your parents. You blame the economy, you blame your boss, but you never look in the mirror. Let me tell you something, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is responsible for your dreams but you. The day you stop blaming others is the day your life changes. People who remain poor forever hold on to their excuses like a blanket, comforting, safe, familiar. They don't want to let go because it keeps them from facing the truth. They could do more, they just don't. You have 2 choices. You can keep complaining about how unfair life is, or you can stand up and say, I will not let this define me. Because the world only respects those who take responsibility, not those who expect rescue. Waiting for the perfect time is the most beautiful way to waste your life. Because deep down, we all have that dream, that fire inside us that says, I can do more. I can become more. But then reality whispers back, not yet. You're not ready. And so we wait. We wait for the right timing, the right resources, the right opportunity. As if success is this perfectly wrapped gift that will just appear when the stars align. The truth is that day never comes. The perfect time is an illusion, a comforting lie that keeps you still while the world moves forward. Every single person who has ever achieved something extraordinary didn't wait until they had it all figured out. They took messy action. They stumbled, they failed, they made mistakes, and they learned through the chaos. But they started. Because waiting is easy, starting is not. Waiting gives you an excuse, starting demands courage. When you say you're waiting for the right time, what you're really doing is protecting yourself from fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. You tell yourself you're being smart or strategic, but what you're really being is scared. You're waiting for confidence to arrive before you take action, not realizing that confidence only comes after you move. You gain confidence through movement, not through thinking. Every step you take, no matter how uncertain, builds a version of you that's stronger than the one who stood still. But the one who waits, that person gets stuck in the loop of someday. Someday when I have more time, someday when I have more money, someday when I feel ready. But someday is not a day on any calendar. Someday is a graveyard where your dreams go to die quietly. You see, the perfect time doesn't exist because life never stops throwing obstacles. There will always be distractions, problems, and reasons to delay. The bills won't disappear, the responsibilities won't fade, the fear won't magically vanish. Waiting for the perfect time is like waiting for a storm to stop before learning how to swim. You'll drown in hesitation long before you touch success. The people who rise above, who make their mark, are not the ones who had perfect starts. They're the ones who started despite the imperfection. They had no map, but they moved. They had no guarantee, but they believed. They had no applause, but they kept walking. Think about how many opportunities you've already lost by waiting. That course you wanted to take but thought was too expensive. That idea you wanted to pitch but thought wasn't ready. That dream you wanted to chase but thought you'd do later. How many times have you watched others achieve the very thing you wanted while you told yourself, "I'll do it next year"? Every time you wait, you're choosing comfort over growth. You're trading your potential for safety. You're letting time slip through your fingers like sand, and the worst part is, you don't even notice it until it's gone. Because waiting feels like you're doing something, it feels responsible, it feels thoughtful. But it's not. It's disguised procrastination. It's fear wearing the mask of logic. The world rewards movement, not perfection. Every great success story is built on action taken in uncertainty. You can't build confidence by sitting on the sidelines. You can't learn to lead by waiting for the right team. You can't grow by hesitating. You grow by stepping into the unknown and figuring it out along the way. The first step will always feel terrifying. You'll question yourself 100 times. You'll think about what people will say, how you might fail, how unprepared you are. But what you don't realize is that the very act of starting is what transforms you into the person who can handle what's ahead. You don't need clarity to begin. Beginning gives you clarity. Some people spend their whole lives collecting knowledge, attending seminars, reading books, and waiting for the one perfect moment when everything aligns. But the truth is, action teaches you more than theory ever will. You can't think your way into success. You have to work your way into it. The people who wait for the perfect time end up watching others who dared to start while they were still hesitating. That's the painful part, not that others win, but that you realize you could have too if you hadn't waited so long. Every second you spend waiting is a second lost forever. Time doesn't stop for your hesitation. The only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that one group decided to move before they were ready. They acted while afraid. They used what they had and learned the rest along the way. They didn't waste time trying to make everything perfect. They understood that progress creates perfection, not the other way around. Waiting is seductive because it feels safe, but safety is an illusion. Nothing grows in safety. The seed has to break before it becomes a tree. The butterfly has to struggle before it can fly. You too will have to step into discomfort before you can rise. So every time you catch yourself waiting for the right time, remember that the right time is the moment you decide to begin. There's no guarantee that tomorrow will be easier. There's no promise that the fear will fade. But there is one certainty: if you keep waiting, you'll stay exactly where you are. And if you move even an inch, you change everything. You said spending to impress others keeps you broke in reality and spirit, because somewhere along the way, society convinced us that looking successful is more important than actually becoming successful. We live in a world where people buy things they don't need with money they don't have, to impress people they don't even like. It's a cycle of illusion, a shiny trap that makes you feel powerful for a moment, but empties you from the inside out. You see it everywhere: the obsession with labels, the need for validation, the constant pressure to prove your worth through possessions. But here's the hard truth: the moment you start living for appearances, you stop living for purpose. The reason people stay broke isn't always because they lack money, it's because they misuse what they already have. Every time you choose to impress instead of invest, you're digging a deeper hole for yourself. That new phone, those designer shoes, that expensive night out, they give you a rush, a momentary high, a false sense of success, but the high fades and what's left is regret. You start chasing that feeling again, convincing yourself you deserve it, that it's harmless, that it's motivation. But it's not motivation, it's manipulation. The world has tricked you into believing that self-worth is measured by what you wear, what you drive, or what you post online. But real wealth doesn't shout, it whispers through discipline, focus, and delayed gratification. People who truly understand success don't spend to show off. They spend to grow. They understand the power of investing in things that don't shine today but build empires tomorrow. They buy books instead of brands, tools instead of trophies, assets instead of attention. Because they know something most people ignore: external validation is a debt that never ends. The more you chase it, the more it owns you. The moment you need others to see you as rich is the moment you become poor in spirit. Because every purchase made for attention steals from your progress. You're feeding your ego while starving your future. The saddest part is that this mindset doesn't just drain your wall, it drains your potential. When you care too much about appearances, you stop taking the kind of risks that lead to real success. You won't invest in your education because it doesn't look glamorous. You won't save or build something long-term because it doesn't get applause. You'll stay in the same cycle of consumption, mistaking it for progress. You'll call it living well, but deep down you'll feel the emptiness of pretending, because showing off isn't success, it's insecurity wearing confidence. Think about it, the most successful people you've ever met don't need to prove anything. They walk quietly, they build silently, they let their results speak. But those trapped in the cycle of appearances are always loud, always flashing, always trying to convince the world they've made it. You can't build real success while trying to look successful. The two energies cancel each other out. Because success requires humility, patience, and sacrifice, the very things the appearance-driven world avoids. There's a quiet confidence in knowing you don't need to show off. You don't need everyone to know you're doing well. You don't need to post every achievement, every purchase, every moment of success. Because you're not doing it for validation, you're doing it for evolution. When you stop chasing the applause, you start chasing the truth, and the truth is, money is a tool, not a trophy. It's meant to work for you, not against you. When you use it to impress others, you give it control. When you use it to build, you take control. Most people don't realize that every financial decision they make is shaping their future. Every unnecessary purchase delays your freedom. Every time you choose pleasure over purpose, you pay for it with time, the most valuable thing you'll ever have. Financial maturity isn't about being stingy, it's about being strategic. It's about asking, does this help me grow? Before asking, will they be impressed? Because those who understand this mindset create abundance even from little. They use what they have wisely, and eventually the world notices, not because they showed off, but because their consistency became undeniable. The truth is, the people you're trying to impress aren't thinking about you as much as you believe. Everyone is too busy trying to impress someone else. It's a chain of insecurity where no one wins. You can break that chain by realizing that your value isn't in your possessions, it's in your progress. The moment you stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you'll find peace. You'll stop buying things for attention and start building things for fulfillment. And here's something most people never understand: wealth is silent because it's confident. Poverty, on the other hand, is loud because it's insecure. Those who truly have nothing to prove don't need the world's approval. They're too busy building their future. The car, the clothes, the gadgets, they don't define success. They decorate it. You can't decorate something you haven't built. Focus on building the foundation first. Build something so strong, so undeniable, that when you finally choose to show it, it's real, not rented, not borrowed, not faked. When you spend to impress, you lose the discipline that success requires. You trade your future for a fleeting moment of validation. And that's how people stay poor, not because they don't have enough, but because they never learn to use what they have with purpose. Every dollar is a seed. You can plant it to grow something that lasts, or you can burn it to create a moment that fades. The choice is yours. But just remember, the richest people aren't those who spend the most, they're those who spend the smartest. Because wealth is not about what you show, it's about what you grow.